Now W Korea. And if you don't know what W Korea is, from my understanding they are a Korean women's fashion magazine, have came under fire for their Love Your W, breast cancer awareness charity event, for looking more like a Met Gala / celebrity meetup, rather than, well, a charity event. There was barely mentions of breast cancer, no pink ribbons, no one wore pink, instead the venue was decked out in just red. Just looking at the videos, I would have just thought it was a fashion event. I mean, half the videos of idols just show them taking selfies, and to top it all off, Jay Park was there and performed his song Mamai. And many people called it tone deaf because the lyrics are very actually explicit, and yeah, it really was tone deaf. Yet this is allegedly one of the nation's largest annual charity events and they have not raised $1 million. The event raised $40,000 this year, with only $773,700 being raised throughout the 20 years of this event being held. 5 days after the event, W Korea officially issued an apology and deleted any posts related to the event. After this event, many people were bashing the idols and groups that went. I've specifically seen lots of hate towards some idols as some of idols appeared to be intoxicated, and that brings up another point of contention. Mokandon Champagne being one of the sponsor of this event, many people saw this as insensitive due to the fact that cancer patients cannot consume alcohol. So let me know y'all's opinion on this situation. In my opinion, the whole event was just very tone deaf, and Jay Park's performance was like the little cherry on top of this mess. So Twice performed at the Victoria's Secret fashion show, and by twice, I mean, like, 4 members, Nayeon, Jihyo, Mina, and Chewy. And many people were hating on Chewy in particular for her not so stellar vocal performance. And I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. She did not sound great. Her voice was a little shaky but, huge but, she was sick and had a sore throat. Chewy has always been singled out when it comes to singing live. And like, you know, sometimes she doesn't sound the best but on her good days she can sing. And I'm not going to pretend these girls can't sing live because they can. I mean, look at Lollapalooza. And not everyone can power through sickness or sore throats and sound amazing. And Chewy did not need to apologize because it's not that deep for real chat. So this section is going to be long as frick, and I will be talking about Pokémon leaks, so if you don't want to hear me ramble about Pokémon, feel free to use the timestamps. Now this isn't the first time Pokémon stuff has been leaked. I mean, we had that huge leak around the same time of year last year, which is crazy. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but if I had a nickel for every time Game Freak got hacked and had information get leaked in the month of October, I would have 2 nickels, which is strange that it happened twice. But anyways, that old leak had Gen 10, that weird Typhlosion text document, and some more weird human and Pokemon relations, some beta builds of some games, scrapped mechanics, old Pokemon concept art and old sprites, and the confirmation of South Kalos. But we aren't talking about those leaks, however, we are talking about the recent leaks. So the leaks contains Gen 10 stuff, the region's code name is Gaia, and the names of this generation's games is Pokemon Winds and Waves, which directly tie into their new wind mechanics and diving mechanics and engines that have been leaked, along with an underwater exploration mechanic that the leaks speak on. The concept of the game is that it's going to be infinitely generated similar to Minecraft. The new region will be based on Southeast Asia, specifically Malaysia. Initially, they were deciding between Gen 10 being based of Greece, Canada, Scandinavia, or the west coast of America. The Greece concept seemed to have been the one they developed the most before ultimately deciding to go with Southeast Asia. They also plan on tackling a jungle environment in this game, which I'm surprised has not been featured in any other Pokemon games till now. The legendaries will obviously be based off storms and waves. They are said to use their power to guide people in Pokemon, however, they only accept people who have raised seed Pokemon, which is this game's new mechanic. It sorta makes sense. They had mechanics based on moves, types, evolutions, and supersizing Pokemon, so the next best thing would be having a Pokemon be the NewJeans gimmick. The leaks say the seed Pokemon will be uniquely generated, so everyone will have a unique seed Pokemon. So basically a more personalized starter Pokemon. The seed Pokemon are said to be tied with the progression of the game. Depending on how you raise it, will determine the progression. There'll also be a focus on weather-based moves, which sounds interesting and intriguing. There'll be a mix of both Lord Pokemon and Gym Leaders, which you'll have to complete both to challenge the champion. The leaks also touch on the game's story, which I won't be diving into because if these turn out to be accurate, I don't want to know anything about it. All I know is that instead of starting in a small town, we will be starting our journey in a big city. Okay, now this leak is funny, because no one GAF about Johto. Initially there was supposed to be a Legends game for Johto, but then Game Freak decided Kalos was better fit for a Legends game. They faces killing me, why nobody give a fuck. There has also been leaks on concept art for Paldea and the original plot and game mechanics planned for Galar. Here we have an early look at Beta Team Star, where they look 10 times cooler in. Their cars sorta remind me of the Bowser's car from Mario 3D World. The Pokemon Scarlet and Violet DLC was initially supposed to be set in Kalos and Alola, but ultimately decided on Blueberry Academy, which is closer to Unova, and Kitakami being near Johto. And I'm low-key upset, because X and Y has always been sorta incomplete, with no third version, hence why we have a Legends game and why Zygarde had a prominent presence in Alola. And why we have a Legends Sia game. And after seeing in last year's leaks that there was a whole southern region of Kalos that was scrapped, and hearing that we were supposed to go to Kalos originally in the DLC, that just pisses me off. There's a reason why we can see a part of Kalos on the Scarlet and Violet map, and it was because we were supposed to go to Kalos. I guess since they decided against a Johto Legends game and favored the idea of a Kalos Legends game, I can sort of understand why they went with this route. And for why they decided against including Alola. They probably thought it was too recent to revisit the region. So thanks a lot, Johto. I'm blaming this on you. Speaking of Legends, the leak talks about the next Legends game taking place in Galar, and I think this is a pretty neat idea. The game will take place in the past and will have players capturing Dynamax Pokemon. The game is inspired by Xenoblade Chronicles X. I think a Galar Legends game is a cool concept, but I would have much rather had Alola though. Game Freak's lineup of games to 2030 has also been leaked. Wind and Waves are releasing in 2026, with DLC in 2027. Sometime between 2027 and 2028 is when the Legends Galar game will release. 2029 being the release of an online multiplayer multi-regional game, taking place in Kanto, Johto, Hoenn, Sinnoh, and Kitakami. And finally in 2030 is when we can expect Gen 11, with full Gen 5 remakes in the following years, meaning both Black and White 2 will also be remade in this version. There was also a statement saying that for the generations from Gen 5 and beyond will be developed a lot more slowly as lots of fans love and adore these games. So fuck Sinnoh, I guess. In all seriousness, I hope this Unova remake is good. This is making me concerned on why they are working on so many games, because I just get so frustrated thinking about how good Pokemon's legacy could be if they just didn't fumble the Switch era so hard. And especially with how many games they're developing is concerning because they're biting off more than they can chew. I don't know if it's the Pokemon company making them work on so many games or if it's Nintendo. But either way, I am stressed for them. The Pokémon Horizons anime is entering its Mega Evolution arc. It is a flashback arc that takes place before the one-year time skip that shows Roy and Alden Kalos, obviously for promotion for the Legends Sia game. Now I want to take this time to discuss the Pokémon Horizons anime, as it is actually very good. It's very different compared to the Pokémon anime featuring Ash. The Horizons anime is a lot more plot-focused, and less Pokémon battle-focused too. Obviously there are Pokémon battles, but not in the training to get stronger for the gym battles type of way like in the previous anime. I get a different yet familiar feeling when watching this anime. I've heard nothing but good things about this anime, and so far it rings true. I am on season 1, but so far it's really hooked me. The first episode was fire, and very intriguing. Liko is a very interesting character and protagonist for a Pokemon anime, and it's truly just a breath of fresh air, so I urge all you Pokemon fans to watch it. Now BTS finally making a comeback in 2026, took them a long time coming. I'm low-key hoping this comeback is goated and similar to their old songs because well I feel like everyone knows that their newer songs weren't the best. I'm hoping for Prime BTS, and that this will revive the K-pop industry. I am waiting oppas. Hopefully we can get a NewJeans comeback next year too. Itzy is back with their new extended play titled Tunnel Vision. They dropped an album trailer on the 16th of this month, and I gotta say, Itzy's creative team this year has been cooking. These album trailers have been insane in production quality. No group has truly captured me this year with concept trailers like Itzy has. The video has the girls following a red dot throughout various locations in the city trying to catch it. I feel like this is an obvious nod to their Cheshire era with the whole cat motif. I'm hoping for better music because Man Girls Will Be Girls was very rough. The only time I actually enjoyed listening to the song was in the rock remix they released. The song wasn't bad, it just wasn't in the right genre. Speaking of songs, they actually released the track listing. There are 6 songs: Focus, DYT, Flicker, Nocturne, 8-Bit Heart, and of course the title track Tunnel Vision. I truly do hope the team who organizes and selects the songs for these girls don't frick up this time, because the creative team is really picking up their slack. I can see that they're trying to carve out a more mature look to Itzy that isn't the Mafia in the Morning type of stuff, sadly abandoning their colorful bratty vibe. But maybe this is a good change for them. Now Mama is under fire for its nominations and nominees. Now first, let's talk about the Best New Artist scandal. People are upset that they decided to merge the Best New Artist category. Now if you didn't know before, this category was split into 2, Best New Female Artist and Best New Male Artists. This makes sense because K-pop is a large industry with many groups, and 2 groups can be dominating in one year. Like let's say in 2023 the 2 biggest groups were boynextdoor and SSERAFIM. You couldn't go anywhere without hearing a song from BND or SSES. Logically, you'd give them both a reward for Best New Artist, because they both dominated the industry. But making the category combined makes it a lot more harder and a lot more unfair, as only one group can win. The only time they did this was back in 2014, when the sibling duo ECMU debuted. And obviously this year they combined the categories because of All Day Project. We all know that's why they did it. from my sources apparently famous is a pretty huge deal in Korea. There is a lack of ULTS and NMIXX here, which is crazy to me. Personally, I feel like this year for ULTS was actually very good. I mean, Do the Dance was successful and had its own dance trend, and so did Jealous. Oops also had its own viral moment in China. So the fact that Cherish of all songs was nominated for Best Dance and not Do the Dance or Jealous is crazy to me. On the brighter side, Daeyoung of WEEEKLY has been nominated for Best Dance Performance for Female Soloist. But we also have Jisoo here, and I guess bro. Love her though. And then we have the Best Music Video category, which has Dirty Work by Aespa and Jump by Blackpink. I mean, seriously, that's all we could come up with? Should've at least chose SSERAFIM's Hot or NMIXX's Know About Me. That music video was insanely polished. They also changed the voting this year, with Artist of the Year and Artist category awards points being 40% judging evaluation, 30% streaming or downloads, 20% Korea, plus 10% globally, and 30% physical album sales. So that kinda sums up the information for this year's Mom Awards. A lot of people aren't happy with the lineups. Honestly, if you want my opinion, I don't really care for the Mom Awards. The only time I actually tuned in for a Mom Awards was back in 2022, when they promised that big girl group crossover, where they'll be covering each other's songs, and ending it all in a big collaboration on Cheer Up. And I thought when they said this they meant like, oh, NewJeans is gonna be singing Up by Kepler. You know, stuff like that. I didn't know they meant they'd be dancing to the chorus of a song for like 30 seconds and calling it a day. But yeah, for the most part I never pay any mind to the Mom Awards. I do be watching the performances and collab stages though, because they eat. But besides that, I don't really care for who wins Song of the Year or anything. Another Pokémon Switch game released, and of course discourse about the graphics have been brought up. And look, I get some people when they play a game, they focus more on the gameplay, rather than graphics. But for me, I am definitely more of a graphics person. If a game's gameplay is super good but the graphics are bad, I am probably not going to play it. At least I was until Pokémon Scarlet and Violet. The game looked like a Roblox game from 2013, but man, that was the most fun I've had playing a Pokémon game in a while. Scarlet and Violet's gameplay and story made me see that there clearly is a bunch of people who love and care for the Pokémon series that work on these games, but for one reason or another they just aren't given the time, or budget, to fully develop these games and let them blossom into their full potential. I'm not sure if it's the Pokémon company or Nintendo that's making Game Freak Rush, but it has to be one of them because Game Freak is capable of making a perfectly good looking game. Just look at the leaked lineup for games. They are making all of these in the span of 5 years, and it's not like these are minor spin-offs like a Pokémon Shuffle. These are games that deserve more time to be developed. I hope whatever is going on gets resolved sooner rather than later. I just want to not have my eyes burn while looking at the games. But from what I hear, ZA is a pretty fun game. I've heard mostly positive things about it. I've heard the new battle system is nice and fun, so I'll probably get this game in like 5 years once it goes on sale or something. Or maybe I'll just emulate it. Also, it's still not voice acted, which is crazy. As the game slowly started to get more cinematic cutscenes, it's clear that this series needs voice acting. Like, they could kinda get away with it in Sun and Moon as it was a 3DS game, but once they entered the Switch era and started having gym leaders who sing and rap, it became apparent that they need voice acting badly. I mean, seriously, some scenes are just so awkward and hard to take seriously with just hearing intense background music and the clothes shuffle, but no one is speaking. I just feel like voice acting would add so much character and charm to the trainers and just bring some more life into the games. I bring this up because I saw a TikTok where these people voiced over a cutscene in Legend CA, and I genuinely thought they added voice acting because of how natural it looked. I don't know, maybe it's something they did want to do but the Pokemon company or Nintendo is holding them back from doing it. Or maybe because of how much Pokemon games they're working on at one time. It's probably hard to find voice actors for just one game. On October 13th, Modhouse announced that Kim Lip of Artems would be gearing up for a new digital single titled, Can You Entertain? Releasing on October 16th, marking 8 years since the idol released her first solo single, with the critically acclaimed title track Eclipse. Can You Entertain is this funky song with a fun and groovy bass. I wanna say it's city pop, but I'm not too sure of its exact genre. But it has an actual chorus, and not one of those repeating word choruses. I don't have any thoughts on the song besides it's cute. It might need to marinate in my mind for a while. I think Eclipse's crown slightly tilted, but it still remains. Also, it seems that the other Artems members will be having their own solo singles as well, because earlier today as of writing this script, Artems dropped a teaser on X with the member Jinsel for a single called Ring of Chaos. That will be dropping on the 23rd of this month, so maybe this is promo leading up to a comeback in early 2026, who knows. Now, SSERAFIM's Spaghetti promo has been exciting me. It's a lot of effort they're putting into a single, but I'm not complaining because the visuals are absolutely fantastic. Crazy made me realize just how much untapped potential SSERAFIM has when it comes to tapping into quirky and fun visuals. I'm very glad we are taking a step back from the trilogy idea. This era being a single seems to be SSERAFIM taking a step back, and like an in-between era for the group. And after a while the trilogy idea low-key became tired. I mean, there wasn't really any narrative connections between any of them, nor was there any visual connections or cohesiveness that made it apparent that it was a connected trilogy. They always told us it was a trilogy rather than show us. The only time there was any connections was when they referenced it in a concept videos, or the title of albums in the Fearless era being somewhat connected. So this spaghetti promo is such a breath of fresh air for the group. SSERAFIM has always been known for their good concept films, but I gotta say, I fear spaghetti might be tipping their crowns. This is what true K-pop is. This is the K-pop I crave. The children yearn for wacky and fun concepts. The food delivery outfits and posters are so fun and creative. One of the standouts among the promo has to be the shorts they're doing, from the how to make spaghetti TikTok, which is cute and effective, to the claymation like mood samplers. I hope this amount of creativity and fun promo is something we can expect to see in future SSERAFIM eras. People have been saying the song sounds bad after hearing snippets, but honestly I'm low-key loving it. I will be tuning in. In this section of KNN news, we will be going over all the comebacks and new K-pop releases that have came out in the past week. Now, Hearts2Hearts is a group I low-key have no expectations for. Their music is never offensively bad, being mediocre at worst, but decent at best. I did love the chase. It was catchy and it definitely has grown on me. Stylish took a little while to grow on me. Definitely a lot more plainer compared to the chase, but still a decent catchy bop. My main issue with Hearts2Hearts is just their lack of identity. Now again, I'm going easy on them because well this is their first year, I mean they just started. But I've just gotten accustomed to how the debuts of the 4th gen and to an extent some, and by some I mean very little of 5th gen, had a really strong identity when they debuted. Hearts2Hearts has some cute moments in their concept work, like the little doodles they did for this era, or the photo booth website for style, that was cute too. But that's kinda it. SM seems to be relying heavily on the fact that this group is a girl group from SM to keep them afloat. Their concept photos haven't really been striking or interesting in any way. Again, they are still rookies, so I'm not gonna go in on their creative team. Because it does take a while for some groups to find their footing and identity. I mean look at XG, a J-pop group that struggled to find out what their visual identity was. But now, when you look at XG, it's clear that they have a strong and consistent visual style. The music for this era is cute. I won't speak too much on that, so you guys will have to wait for the summer and fall comeback review. Okay, just a quick little message from me before I end the video. Yes, I know I said I was gonna post more and proceeded to only drop a whopping 7 videos this year, but school was kicking my ass. Y'all, it still is. I'm trying to graduate early, so that means extra school work. And also the files for both my news video layout and my Animal Crossing review layout corrupted back in like July. So I've just been procrastinating on recreating them because ain't nobody got time for that. I'm kidding. But as you can see, I have been active with shorts and TikTok. I'm planning on reactivating my Instagram too, and I plan on being more active on my editing TikTok account at its.soyu, because I want to just have more fun with editing. And don't worry, I am working on the Animal Crossing layout. I'm planning on doing a Blue Valentine review, so stay tuned for that chat. But I hope you all enjoyed today's news video. I'll catch you all in the next one. Soyu out.